Hey there guys, this is DJ Slope from Slope's Game Room, and before you continue watching this video, hold up a second. This is part 2, so make sure you've seen part 1 first by clicking here, or clicking the link in the description if you're on mobile. And 3, 2, 1, you've had your chance. Let's move on to part 2 of McDonald's video games. Welcome back, internet friends. Last time we discussed what I, DJ Slope, dubbed the Ronald McDonald Trilogy. Well, now I'm back, and I'm ready to talk not only about another trilogy of games, but a shed load more McDonald's related video games. So, let's get to it.
Where do the stars of Sega Sonic 3 go when the game's over?
Sonic? Are you guys in there?
Hey, here's a hint. They're at McDonald's in the $1.99 Sonic 3 Hamburger Happy Meal.
Now firstly, as you no doubt know, McDonald's have put their names against pretty much every worthwhile franchise in the world, inside and outside of gaming, as part of their Happy Meal selection. Whether it's Sonic LCD games or Mario action figures, they've literally stopped at nothing for a little bit of cross-promotion. Not only did the biggest gaming icons get involved with McDonald's, but McDonald's actually got involved with the video game industry too. And after releasing Donaldland for the NES, as we talked about in our last episode, only in Japan, in 1988, the rest of the world was able to get their hands on the first ever McDonald's related video game, which also came out a year before the Treasure release. And that game was MC Kids for the NES. Now honestly, except for the golden arches slightly hidden behind the most politically correct image of the late 80s, it really doesn't scream McDonald's to me. Never fear though, because this game only came out in North America. And what did us Brits get? McDonald's Land. Ah, now there's the blatant McDonald's theme I was after. Let's play this version instead. Okay, so hang on, it doesn't matter what version you play, you always get the title screen MC Kids? Not a great start at McDonald Land. So, one night these tubular and radical looking kids are camping in a swamp and I assume reading a book about Ronald McDonald. The book reads that Ronald was showing off his magic bag at a picnic in a meadow when, hang on, he never even turned the page and it's morning now? So Ronald turns up and says that the Hamburglar has stolen the magic bag and he needs the MC Kids to help him get it back. Search the levels of my clubhouse and retrieve at least 4 of my puzzle cards. If you come back to my house with 4 cards, I'll show you how to get to Birdie's house. Wait, what the hell is going on? Right, well let's just start the game. Would you look at this map? Anyone thinking of a certain plumber's game wouldn't be too far wrong. In fact, apparently during development of this game, the world map looked even more like a Mario world map, and Virgin was asked to change it. I was lucky enough to get an interview with Gregg Tavares, one of the lead programmers on the game. I asked him to talk a little bit more about this. We originally had a scrolling map that looked very similar to the style of map in Super Mario World. We took the game to the summer CES, back when there was a summer CES. After that we supposedly got a letter from Nintendo that claimed we'd copied Mario. I don't personally believe we copied Mario. Plenty of games have maps, plenty of games have jumping and collectibles. Greg continues. As a developer for Nintendo systems, you can't fight Nintendo. If you fight them, they'll just say fine, no shipping for you. So apparently Virgin Games had to sign some contract that agreed MC Kids was copying parts of Mario. In exchange for signing, Virgin Games was allowed to publish the game, but only on Nintendo. Also, apparently Virgin had some contract with Sega that said that they'd ship every game they made on a Sega platform as well. The compromise was Global Gladiators. Now we'll get to that game in a minute. Another big difference I wanted answering is why the game covers looked completely different. Why was the English release called McDonald's Land and why was the USA release MC Kids? The only difference that I can see is that the UK one says by Ocean in it. He replied, "Wow, I had never heard of McDonald's Land by Ocean. I've just googled it. I had no idea. I assumed Virgin negotiated with Ocean to have Ocean sell it in the UK, and part of that was to put By Ocean in it. Anyway, let's look at the gameplay. So basically the game revolves around you searching every level for cards to be able to progress. All your typical platform elements are here as you would expect. The game handles pretty damn well if you ask me. It boasts a whopping 33 levels with crazy amounts of ways to interact with the world around you. You got rewind blocks, upside down spinners, bouncing platforms, heavy bouncing platforms that require you to carry an object, platforms on tracks, treadmill platforms, a boat, areas where you dig, ghost platforms that you need to fill in, mazes, moon gravity, and that's not all. The game is actually quite an incredible achievement and a great first entry into this trilogy. The game took about 6 months of programming tools for the game and another 7 months or so creating the game itself. And just like a lot of games, MC Kids was on a tight deadline. Gregg explained, I remember we wanted to have many more power-ups, things like flying or shooting or running, or whatever we could think of. Unfortunately, with such a limited time frame, we didn't have time to put any of them in. Now, even though the game is actually a lot of fun with obviously a lot of effort put in, unfortunately the game didn't really grab the attention it perhaps should. And unfortunately, McDonald's really didn't promote the game too well either. I didn't think to ask how it started, but I remember being excited because it was for McDonald's, and they said they would promote it on Happy Meals for a month, which at the time, they sold 1 million Happy Meals a day. This actually never happened, and McDonald's didn't really have much say or input in the game at all. They were pretty much uninvolved. All they really told us was no food references. They didn't want it to appear to be a direct ad. Now, if you want to check out the full review between myself and Gregg, and I highly suggest you do, then the link will be in the description. And if you want my review on the game, I'll give it about 3 Big Macs and a bag of carrot sticks out of 5. It's a good game, sure it doesn't hold up fantastically well, but there is still a damn good amount of fun to have with this one. And looking at the system it's on compared to something like Donaldland, it's definitely easier than that game, and there's so many more mechanics. You won't get bored with this one. If you see MC Kids or McDonald's Land, depending on where you're from, honestly, you can do a lot worse. Don't listen to everything the angry one tells you. It's actually quite a good game. And like I said, due to Nintendo's grasp, it forced Virgin's hand to make a second game in the trilogy. Yep. It's the one that everyone has been waiting for.
Are you ready?
Mick and Mac Global Gladiators. Or if you're in the UK, just Global Gladiators.
Awesome!
Would you listen to that? I was a kid with all of these things. I've said many times in the past, so obviously these guys 100% spoke to me. Just look, his shoelaces are even untied. Hell yes! I bet he does his homework on the bus and has an untidy room, am I right? Long live the Tude. So this time Mick and Mac are in McDonald's. Here comes Ronald McDonald and boom, they're in the comic. So the game straight away plays fantastically. The controls feel perfect, you can shoot left and right, slightly up, slightly down, and the aim is to collect golden, or not so golden arches. Destroy these machines and run to the end and see Ronald McDonald. That's the end of the level. Now it's actually not that easy. The game takes quite a lot of exploration to get to the end of the level. And it's got to be said that first level of the game looks great. Very Boogerman-esque. The downside is that running around this level doing the same thing constantly, smacking that shoot button over and over and over again, you feel like you've seen enough, and when you finally get to the end of the first level, it all happens again with a slightly darker green colour. Now, as much as I loved this game as a kid, I don't think I really ever saw any other kind of theme than this. It's not because it's too hard or anything like that, but because as a kid, I was already bored by this point. I just don't know, put something else on. And as we get to the end of Slime World 2, we get to Slime World 3. Yet again, more of the same. And when we finally get to the end of Slime World, we finally get to see Mystic Forest. Now, I don't know about you, but this looks pretty bland too. Props to the character designs, but yeah, I don't know, the scenery just looks a bit rubbish, very forgetful. And don't worry, this continues on to the next level. And the final boss is also a tad forgetful. Now, I'm not saying Global Gladiators is a bad game. far, far from it. In fact, I still remember this game fondly after all this time, but it doesn't hold up quite as well as I remember. Definitely worth checking out as it's still at a very reasonable price. Just don't expect the buzz that everyone gives this game. And if you ask me, this game is probably a little bit better. That is, if it wasn't for one hidden mini game that not many people talk about with Global Gladiators. Go to the options menu, then when you're in there, click Practice Bonus Game. And here you go. This was my favourite part about Global Gladiators. God damn, I spent ages on this. I was seriously column style obsessed with this at one point. So it's pretty simple. Bottles, papers and cans fall from the sky and you got to throw them into the correct recycle bin. If they stay on the floor too long, you're out. If you get hit by a random vanishing anvil, you're out. I don't know what it was, maybe it was because of the best music in the game besides the title screen, or the more upbeat colour palette that I really wanted from a game like this. Hell, the bins even had nice shiny lids that really showed off the Mega Drive's graphics. Well, they did in my eyes anyway. Or maybe it was the fact that when you lost, you always got dissed. And to this day, I still pick it up from time to time, and I still get that minor mini DJ Slope Jr. grin every single time I play it. A very strange section of the game that has fully cemented itself in my heart as one of the fonder gaming memories of old, and something that I will remember for all time. The game is just over average, but the mini game is fantastic. Anyway, it's time to move on to the third game in this trilogy. Okay, there really isn't an official third game to this trilogy, apart from this. And although it has the same name, it's actually a little bit of a different game from McDonald Land on the NES. Sure, it has the same story as the NES game, you know, it is a port, but obviously due to it being on the Game Boy, it actually feels a bit more like a traditional platformer. And that's why I really put it down as its own thing entirely. You still collect spinning M's and you still got to find the magic bag for whatever reason. But now it's all about going from left to right, a traditional platformer. Is this a better thing compared to the NES game? Well, that's really up to you to decide. If you ask me, then I'd say hands down the NES game is better if you've definitely got the time to put into it. However, for a nice quick, with 30 levels might I add, the Game Boy version is a pretty damn good game. It's just the gameplay is a little bit too easy. And hey look, the scrolling maps made a nice return. Nowadays with emulators and whatnot, we really get to see the Game Boy games for what they're all about on our Full HD 50-inch tellies, which obviously they were never made for. But with that said, it really does separate the good from the bad, and the Game Boy has a lot of bad games on it. McDonald's Land on the Game Boy is one of the better ones. A good, simple game with very enjoyable mechanics. Give it a go if you have a chance. So there we have it, 6 games altogether, the Ronald McDonald trilogy and the Mick and Mac trilogy. It's worth noting at this point that McDonald Land for the Game Boy actually only came out in America, but was actually ported by Virgin Games to us Brits, albeit with a slightly different name, Spot the Cool Adventure. Looking at the two games side by side, you can see that they're practically the same, so not really much else to say here. Except for the fact that Slope's Game Room will be 100% doing a video on this franchise one day. Hashtag watch this space. So anyway, with these 6 games done, let's go back again and look at Sega Pico. You know, that console made by Sega for kids, yeah? Well, let's teach them about working at McDonald's. This game is believed to be given away as a promotion in Japan at McDonald's with Happy Meals, but it was also released to the public twice. Yep, the game was popular enough to have a 10-year anniversary release. So basically what it is essentially a very easy stripped down simulation game where you run a McDonald's restaurant. You can build burgers, take orders, make sure you serve the right food. There's a few Cooking Mama style mini games thrown in as well. What a strange release. If you want to fill your child's head with false dreams about how great it is working at McDonald's, then I suppose this is the perfect game. It's actually quite a good game as well. And hey, if you think this is too boyish for your daughter, then never fear, because McDonald's fixed that too. Here we have the Hello Kitty port of the very same game. Don't have a Sega Pico? Don't worry, the original game was also ported to the PC. Yep, looking at it, I'm going to say that this game actually looks like it did quite well back in the day. And it seems like McDonald's simulation games are almost a thing of their own, with yet another one being released for the Game Boy Color. It's basically more of the same, albeit of a slightly more old school style Pokemon RPG style about it. There's not really much to say here, as yet again the game was only released in Japan. But from what I have heard, it's yet again not too bad a game all things considered. Wouldn't it be great if there was one more game to turn this into the third trilogy of McDonald's video games? Come on, you all know where this is going. Here we have the cleverly named McDonald's video game, aka Burger Tycoon for the PC. Okay, sadly this is actually not an official McDonald's game. McDonald's even said that themselves. The game has no association with McDonald's and is therefore a complete misrepresentation of our people and our values. Ooh, this sounds juicy. So what's it about? Well, it's obviously another simulation game that's made to make McDonald's look pretty bad. Grow crops for the cows in your slaughterhouse section in this Farmville setting field. And if you don't have enough food to feed the cows, you can add industrial waste to fatten them up. Or if that's not your style, how about destroy the local Amazon rainforest to make more room to grow crops? If your cows get sick from too much industrial waste, you can still sell the burgers anyway. Your employees can eventually spit on the food if they're unhappy, which you decide to resolve by either disciplining them or giving them a badge to cheer them up. You get the idea. It's quite funny to play. It's actually seriously hard. And well, like I said, it's not technically the third game because it's not official, but for funny's sake, let's call this one the McDonald's Simulation Trilogy. Yeah, that'll do. So there you go, 3 trilogies, 9 games, and loads of ports. I'm shocked to say, but I really enjoyed making this video because all of these games that I hadn't played were actually quite fun to not only research, but to play as well. Overall, I'm very happy with McDonald's video games. The Golden Arches surprisingly have quite a rich history behind them in the video game market. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to McDonald's. Hey guys, thanks for watching my review on McDonald's video games. If you like that video, then I've got a couple here that you may like too. You got Alex Kidd, the complete story, obviously a video about the complete history of Alex Kidd. And then you got the first ever Batman game, aka the John Rittman trilogy. And finally on the top right, you've got the Zombies Ate My Neighbours trilogy. Was it a trilogy? I'll let you decide when you click on the video. Make sure you click on the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. Come and check me out on Twitter and Facebook by searching for Slopes Game Room. And if you want to go that extra mile and support the show, then click on that lovely P shape right in the middle of the screen to support the show over on Patreon. Here you get to see videos about a week early and you get to see previews of upcoming stuff. But anyway, for now, this is DJ Slopes signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.